What do you think is the best way to test hormones? Paula says no idea. 99% of your doctors also have no idea. So, Paula, you're just as smart as all your doctors. Estrogen dominance is a problem where you make the estrogen, but you can't break it down. Either you make too much or your breakdown processes suck. And it could be either problem or both. And that can be clearly diagnosed and treatable in you.
So
But
treatable.
yeah,
And that's so refreshing to hear because for people who are dealing with this so often, they feel like there is no help. Their doctor doesn't know what to do. And even if they did know what to do, maybe they're treating them incorrectly and making the problem worse. But you're saying there is an answer.
I don't know how many people with estrogen dominance can't get their hormones tested because their doctor says you don't need to have your hormones tested, right? But what they don't realize is the doctors don't know how to test their hormones. And the other thing is, how many people with estrogen dominance had their hormones tested and were told it's normal? Or number three, how many people had estrogen dominance but were told they had low estrogen and needed to take additional estrogen?
Gosh, right? Okay, and as you're talking about testing, that brings us to a question from Kay too, who's saying, what is the best way to test hormones?
Yeah, that's a really good question. How many of you guys, I want to just take a vote in here and then in chat. If you're watching this, what do you think is the best way to test hormones? Type it in chat. I want to take a poll right now. Do you think it's blood? Do you think it's saliva? Do you think it's urine? Do you think it's muscle testing? Do you think it doesn't need to be tested and you could treat by symptoms? Doris thinks saliva. Paula says no idea because I will tell you right now, 99% of your doctors also have no idea. So, Paula, you're just as smart as all your doctors. Kim thinks urine, right? Someone thinks Dutch or saliva. So that's urine or saliva. So no one says blood. That's interesting, right? No one
Which
says
is the
blood.
way that we so typically get tested. That was the way that I was tested for my hormones over and over and over again until I found you, Dr. Maggie.
Well, what were you told? So here's the cool thing. You're a living example. I don't remember your answer to this. So surprise us all. I'm curious. You said your hormones were tested by blood. What did they tell you about your levels?
First of all, my doctor told me almost nothing. They didn't come back in range, but they said, it's probably not a big deal. And we don't they were testing me for almost no reason. It was what were they going to do with those results because they had no idea what to do with those results. I know, and they were testing things like hormone binding sex globulin. What is that called? And that was coming back whack.
Sex hormone binding globulin.
Yeah. And it was like, I didn't know what it meant. And I don't think my doctor knew what it meant.
Hi, I'm Maggie Yu, MD, and I'm a functional and holistic medicine physician and the creator of the Transform and Transform protocol. If you're interested in learning what are the root causes of all chronic disease, go ahead and click the link in the description where I have a power pack 30-minute training that goes over what are the 5 pillars of Transform. Go ahead, click the link, and I'll see you in that training.
So it felt like a very pointless exercise to have my hormones tested in that way. I had my hormones tested, of course, through my fertility treatments and things like that as well to make sure to see, basic things like, did they think I was going into early menopause or anything like that?
Yeah.
And sure enough, sometimes that stuff came back abnormal as well. But what was ever done about it? Nothing.
But I think I really respect your functional med doctor. I mean, that's a piece of your story I really recall is that you're functional. A lot of people think I'm going to see a naturopath or functional medicine doctor, then they must know and they must be the expert about hormone balancing.
Yeah.
But I'm here to tell you that most functional medicine doctor and naturopaths are not the experts on hormones because it is absolutely it's a lot of years of training expertise, but also for me, I love the fact that I have the medical MD background and training and experience with it, with all the training in dealing with hormones naturally as well. The combination two is unique, and I do believe that delivers a unique perspective and training in this. But your functional doc said, I don't know that much about it. You need to go find, I want to refer you to somebody else who may know more about it than me.
That's exactly what happened. And it's like Doris is saying here, you want even find another functional doctor that has mastered hormones like Dr. Maggie. And that's so true because my functional doctor, who is well-versed in many things and has helped me in many different ways, was
Yeah.
never able to crack what was going on with my hormones and said to me,
Yeah.
"I'm an expert in this. We have to find you someone who is." And that's how I found you.
Yeah.
So thankful for that. And everybody that's found you, it feels the same way. I mean, Sheila's saying right on Doris because she agrees wholeheartedly. Yeah, you're the first person that was able to reveal my pattern that I had never heard of from anyone else.
I have probably done about 200 different trainings around hormones and this very question. So, is blood worthless? Well, I'm going to tell you guys something important here about what is the best way to test for hormones. I think that blood is less reliable than saliva or urine.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you that they all can be helpful in one way or another, but they also could be some of them can be inaccurate. So, number one, the reason why blood testing can be inaccurate is because, well, the doctors ordering don't, a lot of times, don't even know the right timing to test the hormones. And number two, it's not necessarily what we call free active hormones. So people may have a total amount of that hormone that's fine, but really what I'm interested in is more what is the free active hormone that's doing good or damage. So that's one of the problems. Number one with blood testing. Number two is it's not just about your sex hormones. Whether you're a man or woman, you can't just test your sex hormones, which would be your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. They're intimately linked with your adrenal hormones.
Mhm.
So adrenals and sex hormones have to go hand in hand. That's why both are totally thoroughly covered and the relationship between the two in my hormone masterclass. This is critical. And regular doctors have zero training on adrenals. Okay. So if you just take half the data and you just look at the ovarian hormones, they're not even the free hormones, and it's a blood test, and you don't have this piece, you're missing half the puzzle. And so, how could that be helpful? So, that's the problem with blood testing and the practitioners who order blood is that you can't use blood testing to accurately test and diagnose adrenal patterns at all, at all. So,
Mhm.
therefore, I say blood test, out of the way, right?
Forget
So,
about it.
that leaves saliva and urine, right? Which somebody had said in here really accurately. They said saliva and urine can be accurate hormone testing. Yeah, they both can be. I prefer saliva, and that's why we use it in my hormone masterclass and in our programs. And the reason I prefer saliva is because it does sex hormones and adrenal hormones. Number one, that's the panel that's in my hormone masterclass. Number two, the reports are really easy to understand. It's really easy for me to teach from, and it's really easy for you to understand. I'm all about teaching and what's understandable by you. So I love looking at saliva hormone results that measures both and teaching from it. And I think and I'm going to ask people who've learned from me how to understand the saliva hormone results. How was that training? What is your ability now to look at someone's adrenal and saliva hormone panel and be like, wow, I know what's going on with that. And
Yeah,
I know what's causing it,
I know.
right? I think it's a great teaching tool.
And look
And
at how
so,
super smart Jill is, even thinking about this. Is there a specific time of day to test?
hell yeah,
What a
exactly.
great question, too, because your doctor might not even be thinking about that,
They're
but Jill
not.
is, and she's right.
You're right. That's the most important thing. If nothing else you get from tonight's live is if you think your symptoms are related with hormones, you're right. You're just right. I'm just going to let you that. However, they're not here to save you, not because they're not nice and they're not good doctors, but they don't have any training around that.
Right.
That's why I'm more interested in teaching you how to understand this. So, saliva, I think it's a wonderful way to test hormones, which is why we carry test kits in our store. It's also included in my hormone masterclass because you got to learn what to do with that, right? Don't just hormone testing doesn't mean hormone mastery. So, I love to teach you how to actually master this, right?
And to
Now,
answer the question, you are getting tested during different times of the day.
yes, you need it. You need to. And that's what I mean by these adrenal hormone patterns. How these curves look throughout the day is part of the pattern recognition, right? And then why urine? Why do I not like urine? I do like urine testing. I don't use it. And the reason is that and I've worked with the company that does provide urine testing, and urine testing can be really great. And you can also get it serial throughout the day. But the problem is it tests so many things and it's so confusing because there's so much data involved.
Mm.
I promise you, I have practitioners who are running these urine tests who don't fully understand these reports.
Oh,
I promise you, because I've seen them. I've seen them call asking for help. And I've been part of like training providers to understand these results. And the urine test is very difficult, even for providers to learn how to understand. Therefore, how do they actually interpret and understand and teach you or share with you what's going on with it? And then if you're trying to get that test yourself, you're not going to be able to make tails or heads or tails out of it, because it's a very, very complicated report to understand. It is accurate. It's a good test. And you can test both ovarians and adrenal hormones with it. But I find it's not a good teaching tool for doctors or for patients. That's my only beef against it. And it tests for a lot of things. And in a way, too many things. Too much can be overwhelming. And that's why I don't do urine. I really like doing saliva hormone testing. To learn more about how to balance your hormones and to work with us with my hormone masterclass, click the link above or below this video.